Yes, sir.
All right. Is Madam Amma in the building with us? Madam Amma, the course rep, are you around? Is Madam Amma here?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay, let's continue. All right. This course, that is information literacy. The primary goal for establishing this course is to assist students or give students the requisite skills to set information, both manual and electronic. These days, because of information overload, you being an information literate person, there is a need for you to access the needed information effectively and efficiently. But before you access this information effectively and efficiently, there's a need for you to become an information literate person. It is true that I will assist you, as well as this course, for you to access the information in both electronic and manual. Now, the course name is Information Literacy. The course code is ILT101D. Yes. So by the end of the session, students should be able to, one, state categorically what the different libraries are, state the services provided by the various libraries, state the different functions of libraries, and explain when to use each type of library and why. So like I said, the course objective is that at the end of the session, you should be able to categorically, state what the different types of libraries are. Then you should know the services that are provided by each of the various type of library. Then you should state the different functions of the libraries. And finally, you should be able to explain when to use each type of the library and the reason for using such library. Now, the outline of this program, the session 1, we will look at what information literacy is. We'll look at the characteristics of an information literate student. Then the importance of information literacy. Then the session 2, we will talk about the types of libraries. So here we have 5 of them. So we'll be talking about them. Then the session 3, we will talk about reference materials and their uses. So here we'll look at what reference materials are, the characteristics of reference materials, the arrangement of reference materials, and some reference materials. So the session 4, we will briefly look at what an encyclopedia is, the type and the uses. Then again, the same session, we'll look at what a dictionary is, the types of dictionaries, and the uses of dictionaries. Then the session 5, forgive me, I'm catch up with code. The session 5 will look at indexes and abstracts. And the session 6 will look at yearbooks and bibliographies. So that is what we're going to look at for the first session, the first unit, which is in 6 sessions. All right. One may ask, what is information literacy? So please, I hope you are there. Are you all in the building with me?
Yes, sir. We are there, sir.
Okay. So to a layman's point of view, when we say information literacy, what comes in mind? When we say information literacy, what comes in mind? This one, I don't know your name, so anybody can volunteer and tell me something. When we say information literacy, what comes in mind? Hello, are you in the building or outside the building?
We are in the building, sir.
Yes, you should be in the building. So let me see all of you in the building. Let me hear your voices. So when we say information literacy, through a layman's point of view, or your own understanding, you understand by information literacy. Okay, hold on. Let's break the concept down. Now let's look at what information is and what literacy is. Now, when we talk about information, it's simply fact or data that are collected, recorded, processed, and stored in a retrievable form. I'm breaking the concept between what is information literacy. So let's look at what information is literacy before we come to concept. So when we say information, hello, Prof. Yeah, Prof. Good morning, Prof. I'm part of Prof. My job. Oh, the top Prof. Go ahead, Prof. Okay. I don't end of same so maybe phone. But okay. Prof, I don't break a crowd. Hello. Prof, I don't breaking a crowd. Okay. This is the only difference. I understand the questions may be called on. Do it. Okay. And it's a more the questions. Okay. Let's see what the answer is. Many other necessary forms. I was a community. So, in two cases, well, we have two multiple choice now. They will not answer in the system. Rather, on the throw answer book. Maybe a 1 to 3. Yeah. They will list everything. Now, question 1 here. What they will do is a moment for a motion question. No match answer no answer book. Okay. To do that all. Okay. Because you are actually here, okay. Hello, class.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Please forgive me. I had a call from code. Please, sorry. The call just came and I should have informed you guys to hold on. Please, hold on for me briefly. Give me like 1 minute. I'm coming.
Please, sir. Network.
Hello,
We can't hear you well.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Sorry,
yeah, please forgive me. Let me continue. Forgive me. I had a call from our own college, College of Distance Education. So please forgive me for that. Yes. I should have excused you. Okay, so like I said, before you understand the concept information literacy, you need to first break the concept down. What an information is and what literacy is. So I was explaining what an information is. And I'm saying that when we say information, is simply defined as fact or data that are collected, recorded, processed, and stored in a retrievable form. So before you have an information, there should be a collection of facts or data. And this collection of facts or data should be recorded so that it will avoid forgetfulness. So once you just jot those facts down, people can also rely on it as a source of what? Information. Exactly. So we say that any fact or data that are collected, recorded, processed, or stored in a retrievable form, we consider it as what? Information. You can again define information as the knowledge given or received of some facts or circumstances. The knowledge given or received of some facts or circumstances. Exactly. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Hello,
Okay.
sir.
So one may also ask, what is literacy? Many times people often explain it as that your ability to read and write. But you know, literacy goes beyond reading and writing. Though it's part of reading and writing, but it goes beyond that. There are certain qualities or characteristics that make somebody a literate person. Now, when we say literacy is simply the ability to read and write. And it includes skills such as critical thinking, speaking, presenting, as well as listening. So you realize that the ability to read and write does not only make someone a literate person. At times, the way you think critically and come up with answers, somebody can infer or judge that this person is a literate person. The way you speak, the way you present your facts, some too are very good listeners. So these are some of the qualities that add up to the reading and writing that makes someone what? A literate person. Exactly. So it's not only about reading and writing. You should possess certain qualities like listening, speaking, presenting. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So who can now tell me or explain what an information is to me before we look at the main concept information literacy? And what we've discussed so far, what is information and what is literacy? Anybody to volunteer? What is information? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Oh, class is quiet too. I'm asking what an information is. Oh, but I've explained it earlier. I was
Yes,
thinking
sir.
somebody can also yes,
Information
what is
is
an
a
information?
data that is collected for future.
Sir, please. So information is
Before you
data.
mention your name, then you
My
respond to
name
that.
is Emmanuel.
Your name is
Emanuela.
okay, Manuela.
Sir, please. So information, in my understanding, means the data collected about a group of people or an event to be able to give an account on.
Thank you. Who else?
Sir,
Yes, my brother.
my name is Mohammed.
Okay, Mohammed.
Sir, information is a fact or data that is collected for future reference. It's my
Okay, fact or
understanding.
data that is collected for future reference. That's fine.
Yes, sir.
Any other person? Any other person? It's recorded. So. Any other person?
Sir,
Okay. Yes, my sister.
my name is Mavis.
Okay, Madam Mavis.
Please, In my own understanding, information is a data or a fact that is being processed and stored for a future use.
That's fine. Thank you, my sister. Okay, so we've all understood what an information is per my explanation and the contributions made by your colleagues. Okay, so what then is literacy? When we say literacy too, what is your understanding to literacy?
Sir, please, Emanuela, literacy
Yes,
means the ability to read, write, critically think, understand, present ideas.
come again.
Literacy means the ability to read, write, understand, listen, and present ideas.
That's fine. Any other person? Please, I want you to get understanding. That's why I'm just asking colleagues. Who can also explain what literacy means? Literacy. Yes, please.
I'm endurance, teacher.
Okay, my sister. Go ahead.
In my view, a part of an
Yes, sir.
information is about the ability to read.
So
Simply means the
it means you can
ability to
read
read
it,
and write.
understand it, right?
It also involves critical thinking before you do that.
Since somebody was on the line, let the person finish before you come in.
Okay.
Anya, please continue. I didn't hear you. Anya, please, can you go over what you just said?
I said I'm endurance, teacher.
Okay.
I said it is the ability to read and write. It simply means the ability to read and write. And that one involves the critical thinking before you do so.
That's fine. Thank you. Okay, Madam Ama, the one you just came. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, literacy means you can read the message, understand it, write your own ideas, and communicate it well.
That's fine. So
That
you've
is
all
my
now,
definition.
like I said, the ability to read and write, but it goes beyond the reading and writing. That is why I say you possess the skill of thinking, how you listen, the way you speak, the way you analyze issue. Okay, they all come together to make somebody a literate student. Now, once we've understand what an information is and literacy is, now let's look at what an information literacy is. Now, according to one author, that is Thomas, which in the year 2004, he defined information literacy as a body of knowledge, skills, competencies, and understanding that is required by the individual to find information effectively and use it appropriately to meet the need that prompted its acquisition. I'm taking it again. Thomas is of the view that information literacy is a body of knowledge, skills, competencies, and understanding required by the individual to find information effectively and use it appropriately to meet the need that prompted its acquisition. So here, what Thomas is trying to say here is that the skills that one may possess or acquire and the understanding that will also help you to find information and use it appropriately, that one is considered as what? Information what? Literacy. So you being a student, you should develop the skill and understanding for what? Searching for information, how you search or find information and use it effectively. That makes you what? An information what? A literate person. Exactly. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So again, according to the Association of College and Research Libraries, they also define information literacy as a set of skills. Information literacy can also be defined as a set of skills that is needed to find, retrieve, analyze, and use information. I'm taking it again. I said, according to the Association of College and Research Libraries. So it's an association that came out in that definition. That's in the year 2015. They define information literacy as a set of skills that is needed to find, retrieve, analyze, and use information. And I believe this is self-explanatory in the sense that here they are saying that those special skills that one may need to find, retrieve, analyze, and use information. Exactly. So the special skills that you need in order to what? Find information. And through this course, once we are going through this course, you know how, or I'll teach you how to what? Find information, where to retrieve such information, and how to what? Use such information to accomplish your specific purpose or task. Exactly. You can
Yes.
again define information literacy as an intellectual framework. Information literacy again can be defined as an intellectual framework for recognizing, identifying, and finding information. An intellectual framework for recognizing, identifying, and finding what? Information. So in summary, what we are trying to say here is that when we say information literacy, it is simply explained as the knowledge of when and why you need information, where to find it, how to evaluate, and communicate it in an ethical and legal manner. Please hold on. I'm saying that, I'm saying that in some way, when we say information literacy, it's simply the knowledge of when and why you need information, where to find it, how to evaluate, and use it to communicate in an ethical and legal manner. So, in as much as we are teaching you how to find information, in terms of retrieving information online, we have ethical and legal issues that surround the use of information. So you can't just pick somebody's information and use it without consulting the author or the rightful owner. It's very important that you need to know the ethical and the legal issues that surrounds information and its access. So here, some of the legal and ethical issues that will be brushing through will be plagiarism, copyright, fair use, censorship, etc. So you as an information literacy student or a person, like I said, you should be able to understand the economic and the legal issues that surrounds information and its access. Now, what then is the characteristics of an information literate person? For somebody to be considered as an information literate person, one, the first thing is that you must be able to what? Recognize the need for information. Secondly, you should be able to locate information from the various sources. The third one is that you should be able to evaluate the information and its sources critically. And finally, you should be able to use such information to accomplish a specific task. I'm taking it again. We can ask you what are the characteristics of an information literate person or student. So what I'm saying is that an information literate person or student is somebody who has the ability to recognize the need for information. You should be able to also locate the information. You should, again, be able to evaluate information and its sources critically. And finally, you should be able to use such information to accomplish a specific purpose or task. Exactly. Hello?
Aye.
Yes, sir.
Please, I hope you are following, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right. Very soon, I'll ask you some of the things that we are doing so that we all understand that. Now, like I said,
Sir, please,
yes, please.
sir, please, can you take it again? The third and the fourth.
I said for somebody to be considered as an information literate person, the first thing is that an information literate student is someone who has the ability to recognize the need for information. You should be able to locate the information. That's the second one. The third one is that you should be able to evaluate the information and its sources critically. And finally, you should be able to use such information to accomplish a specific purpose or task. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
understood that?
Yes, sir.
So, we can proceed then.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, according to the Association of College and Research Libraries, okay, they came out with 5 standards to define who an information literate person is. So the abbreviation or the acronym is ACRL. So I'm saying that the full meaning is Association of College and Research Libraries. That's the full meaning of ACRL in caps. So I'm saying that according to ACRL, that's the Association of College and Research Libraries. For somebody to be considered as information literate student, they use 5 standards to define or explain who an information literate person is. So the first standard is that the first standard is to know. The first standard is to know. The second standard is to access. To access. The third standard is to evaluate. The fourth standard is to use. And the last and the fifth standard is ethical and legal issues. I'm taking it again. I said, according to the Association of College and Research Libraries, they came out with 5 standards to define who an information literate person is. And the standard is in that chronological form. You don't list them. You arrange them according to how I have listed them or stated them. So the first standard is to know. The second standard is to access. The third standard is to evaluate. The fourth standard is to use. And the fifth and the last standard is critical and legal issues. So who can mention the first standard to me?
An information literate person must know.
Yes, must know. Okay, that's fine. To know. All right. What's the second standard?
To access.
To access. Thank you. The third standard.
To evaluate.
To evaluate. Thank you. The fourth standard.
To use.
Use.
The last and the fifth standard.
It's ethical to legal issues.
Okay. So when we ask you whether in your quiz or your exam, the 5 standards are in not chronological order or systematic order, you should state it as to how we have listed it here. Is that clear? Is that clear with you, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So we're going to pick them one after the other and explain. Now, so the first standard, we're saying that an information literate person determines the nature and the extent of the information needed. An information literate person determines the nature and the extent of the information needed. So here, the question that you, as an information literate student, you should ask is that the person must be able to what? Identify questions like, what is the information I want to know? So you say that you determine the nature of information. So you ask yourself, what is the information, or what information do I want to know? The second question that you should ask yourself, what kind of information do you need? And thirdly, how much information do I need? I'm taking it again. I said the first standard to know. We're saying that an information literate person
Hello.
Hello.
I
Uh,
think
I
it's
think
his network. His network.
I was thinking it's my network.
Mm.
Rep, it's like Dr. Prince is still here, but he's muted. So if you can find out if there's a problem or he's still joining us.
Okay, please. I sent him message. So when he replies, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Please mute yourselves, okay? I think I can see some videos and stuff like, well, it just saved down the Idrisha and co. I think it's the network. So, like I was saying, I said that under the first standard to know, there were some questions that I posed that you, as an information person, you are able to determine the nature and the extent of information needed. And I asked some few questions that will let you determine the nature and extent of information. So the first question is, what is it that you want to know? What kind of information do I need? And how much information do I need? So these are the questions that you ask yourself whilst in search of what? Information. Exactly. So the first one like this, what is it that I want to know? So the kind of the information that I want to know, you will determine the nature and the type of the information that you need. And again, how much information you need. So you are also going to make this take decision as to the number of information that you need as far as your setting is concerned. So this one, you will make the decision yourself. That's what the first standard is talking about. The second standard is that is to access. So we're saying that the information literate person accesses the needed information effectively and efficiently. I'm taking it again. And so the second standard is to access. And we're saying that the information literate person accesses the needed information effectively and efficiently. So here, what we are trying to say here is that the person must be able to identify some questions. Example like, what is the best way to gather this information? Then again, you ask yourself again, am I using the best terms for this search? Then the third one is that, which search system or other resource will get me this information? So we say that we still throw more light on the access. And we say that you as an information literate person, how do you access the needed information effectively and efficiently? And I'm saying that there are some questions that you ask yourself. That are you using the best way to get this information? So at times you realize that you want to search information, but then you don't know how to go about it. At times it depends on the search terms or how you type in your search or query. If you give a wrong query or search, it's going to be very difficult for you to access the needed information effectively and efficiently. For instance, if you need information, let's say, what is, let's say, internet, and you type something different from that angle, it's going to be very difficult for you to acquire or achieve that information and use it effectively. So it's very best that once you are acquiring this information literacy course or program, you should be able to what? Get the best way to gather the information, the best search terms or keywords that you use in your search. And again, the system or other resources that will help you get such information. They are very important as far as information literacy is concerned. Please hold on. I'll catch up with code, so hold on. All right. So we are done with the second standard. What is the third standard? Who can tell me the third standard?
To evaluate.
Yes, to evaluate. You know, when we're talking about evaluation, it has to do with assessing or judging the worth of something. Come again? Hello?
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
I said the third standard is to what? Evaluate. And when we're talking about evaluation, it has to do with assessment or assessing the worth of something. Whether something might be good or bad, you first have to evaluate. And how do we evaluate? We evaluate information based on the source, the credible source, and how other people also interpret it in their point of view. So before you have to what? Evaluate information and its sources critically, you should what? Get a source that will support the information, where the information is coming from. You just don't pick information anywhere and you start using them. You should check the source of where you got that information. For instance, the time you are applying for the admission, and I believe you all know the university website, that's the www.ucc.edu.gh. Now, this institutional site is what? Credible because of you being able to what? log on to that site to get information in relation to what they invested. So it's very important that once you are getting information from the internet, it's very important that you need to check the source, whether it's from a credible or a reliable source. Like I said, according to the test standard, we're saying that the information literate person evaluate information and its sources critically, and therefore incorporate the selected information into your knowledge-based system. I'm taking it again. I'm saying that the third standard, that is to evaluate, we're saying that the information literate person or student evaluate information and its sources critically, and therefore incorporate the selected information into his or her knowledge-based system. So here we say that the person must be able to identify certain questions, and like I said earlier, you should be able to ask yourself that, is this a credible source of information? I mean, where you getting information, the site that you are picking information from, is it from a credible source? If it's a credible source, that is where you can rely on it as a chief source of what? Information. You can also again ask yourself that, is there another interpretation or point of view as far as the information is concerned? And that is where the evaluation comes in. That you can get information, I mean 2 or 3 information, but in terms of interpretation, it becomes very difficult. So once you get other sources to check whether the information is good, that is where it will give you a clear understanding as to what the statement may be. And the third one is that, how does this information change what I know? So maybe you knew something earlier which is quite different from the current one. You use the current information to compare. And through the comparison, that is where the evaluation comes in mind. You are getting the worth of something, whether it's good or bad. So that is where the issue of evaluation will come into play. So like I said earlier, the test standard as to the evaluation, which I said has to do with assessing or judging the worth of something. You as an information literacy student, you should be able to what? Evaluate the information and its sources critically. And that is where you can incorporate the selected information that you have before you can use them. Exactly.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The test and the fourth standard. What is the fourth standard?
To use.
The fourth standard. To use. Okay, now. Okay, somebody's on the floor, please. Somebody want to ask a question.
I want to know the key difference between the asset and the liability.
I can't hear your voices. Now, can you please raise your voice a bit?
Yes, sir. I want to know the key difference between the asset and the liability.
You want to know the difference between?
The asset.
Please, somebody, did you hear his question?
You want
Did
to know
anybody hear his
the
question?
difference
So that the person.
between the access and the
access and value.
Oh, the access is looking at the. What did I explain the access? Who understand how I explain the access? How did I explain the access?
So you said the access is needed information effectively and efficiently.
And I'm saying that, and I'm asking how did I explain the access? The access, what I said is, are you using the best way to gather this information? And in order for you to access, okay, at times you need to ask yourself whether you are using the best terms or keywords in terms of assessing. If you use a wrong statement, how do you assess such information? Accessibility has to do with the best way to what? Gather the information. So if you are using a way that wouldn't give you the exact or the actual information, it becomes very difficult for you to what? Get that information, my brother. Then the evaluation, I was saying that the evaluation, you ask yourself whether the information that you are getting, is it coming from a credible source? And again, how do you interpret it as to what you know earlier? That's where the evaluation has to do with. You know, at times you might know something, but in order to clear your doubt, you also seek further or ask somebody for help in terms of further explanation. That is where the evaluation comes in mind. Hello? The person who has the person, is he there?
Yes, sir.
So the accessibility has to do with what? The accessibility, it has to do with the keywords or the search terms that you use in order to what? Get the information. Then the evaluation has to do with the sources, whether the source that you are getting information from, whether you can rely on it, whether the information is coming from authority or a credible source, and how you know it, or how you're going to interpret it. How does somebody also interpret it in order to suit your understanding? Exactly.
Yes, sir.
The fourth one, that is to use. And that one, I said, the fourth standard, that is to use. We're saying that the information literate person, okay, uses information effectively and efficiently. The fourth standard, I said, information literate person uses such information to what? Accomplish a specific purpose. Sorry. Now, once you visit any site, okay, you visit there for a purpose. So you just don't go there and then you are just going there for going sake. Maybe you have your purpose or your motive behind visiting that site. So, for instance, maybe you've been given an assignment or a project work or simply a group work. You visit such site in order to what? Acquire such information. Okay, so it's very important that such information, like I said, you should be able to use such information to what? Accomplish a specific task. Maybe you've been given a task or a role for you to what? Perform. Let's say they've given you assignment, a project work or a group work. So in order for you to use that information, that is why you are visiting that site to get such information to what? Accomplish that task being given to you. So you as an information literacy, we're saying that you should be able to what? Use such information to accomplish what? A specific purpose or task. There's a purpose or task. That is why you visited the site to get such information. Is that clear?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yes, sir.
And the last standard. What is the last standard?
Assess and use information critically,
No,
ethically,
not
and
that.
legally.
Ethical
Okay.
to legal issues.
Okay. Ethical and legal issues. So that's the fifth and the last standard. So the fifth and the last standard is that. Please hold on, I'm coming. Boss. Boss. That's all. I'm the chief justice. Please, what's the problem? But have you called them and they say we should do that? But I'm asking that you've called them. That... Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, send it to where our documents are. All right. So the last standard, like I said, we're saying that ethical and legal issues. So you as an information literate person, you should be able to understand the economic, the legal, and social issues that surround the use of information and its access. Okay? I'm taking it again. I said the fifth standard, that is ethical and legal issues. And I'm saying that as an information literacy student, you should be able to understand many of the economic, legal, and social issues that surround the use of information and its access. And you know, before I proceeded in telling you the primary aim for coming out of this program, I'm saying that these days, because of information overload, people visit online and pick people's information without acknowledging them. Once or through this program, it will also help you to understand the legal and social issues that surround the use of somebody's work. So, for instance, if let's say you pick somebody's work without acknowledging him, that means you've plagiarized, and there are some consequences surrounding what plagiarism. And one of the consequences is that you can be put on probation, or you can be withdrawn from your institution. So it's very important that once you are information literacy student, you should know when to use somebody's work. So here, like issue like making somebody's work, making a photocopy of a material, you should know the percentage, and the percentage of making somebody's work or running a photocopy of somebody's work, it should be 10%. Because of what? Knowledge improvement and the fair use policy. It assists you to what? Use certain percentage of somebody's work without writing to what? The author. But many a times, if you are not information literacy person, how do you understand this percentage? Or how do you know that is it right for me to either pick somebody's work or not? So it's through this program and your understanding that help you know the legal and social issues that surround the use of information and its access. So we have ethical and legal ways that you can what? Use somebody's work. And that is why I cited earlier that at times, if you are using the work, as far as academic work is concerned, we have certain percentage that you can use the work. You don't go beyond the 10%. I'm saying that it's through this course that will teach you, or that will let you know the issues that surrounds the use of somebody's work and its access. So that is that. Now, in your quiz or exams, if they should ask you what are the advantages, or let's say the importance of information literacy, you can still use these 5 standards, and based on my explanation to explain. You'll be much correct. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, let's look at libraries. Once you understand the overview of information literacy, we're now going to look at library as an institution. Now, we're saying that people acquire information or knowledge from various outlets, such as schools, welfare bodies, organizations, institutions. And out of these things that I've mentioned, we're saying the library plays a major role as far as the organization of information and knowledge is concerned. So one may ask, what is a library? And we're saying that the word library is believed came from liber. That's the Latin word for book. Okay, so we said that the word library came from liber. So the liber is a Latin word for what? Book. So out of the Latin word, that is liber, that is where a library came out of it. That's the word library. And when we say liber in Latin, it means what? Book. Exactly. However, we're saying that Library collections have almost always contained a variety of what? Materials. So you realize that when we're talking about library, once you have a building, there should be a collection of materials. And the materials are not only the printed materials. When I'm talking about the printed materials, we are looking at books, newspapers, magazines, those hard copy materials. We still also have some libraries that have electronic resources. So by electronic resources, we are looking at the materials or resources that you can access online. The information that you can access online. These are the electronic resources. So in as much as you have the printed materials that is in hard copy form, you can also have the electronic version of such materials, such as films, audio, and video recordings. Exactly. Now, one may ask, what is a library? A library, many a times, we all know the old idea that it is just a building where books and other materials are placed or housed. That is how most people know that when we say a library is simply a building where books and other materials are placed or housed. And we say that this is an old idea of a library. Now, the books and materials goes beyond that. The new idea is that a library is where information in all formats are collected, organized, preserved, and to provide access to knowledge and information. Like I said earlier, that the whole idea of a library is just that we know a library is a building where books and materials are housed. But I'm saying that the new idea of a library is that apart from the books and other materials, the new idea is that it has information in all formats. So when we say the information in all formats, we mean the information can be in the form of what? Print and electronic. Unlike the old idea that we were looking at, just or only the what? The printed or the hard copy. But this new idea of library goes beyond just the physical component. We have other books that are digitized or that are stored online. And these are the electronic resources that I was talking about earlier. So simply, when we say a library, we say that a library is a place where information in all formats are collected, organized, preserved, and to provide access to knowledge and information. So here, what you are saying here is that any building or a place where information in all formats. So we're talking about format, it can be in digital format, it can be in print or electronic format. Sorry, in printed or physical format. Okay, these resources are what? They are collected. And you cannot have a building or a library without the collection of these materials. The material, you have to collect them. And you collect them by what? Either through direct purchase. You visit the bookshops and you buy these books. At times, you can also subscribe to other institutions, then you pay. Most subscriptions, you need to pay for it before you can be granted access. Then, it can also be in the form of donation. Somebody can decide to donate to your institution or your alma mater. So you can also keep these resources in your library if it's very relevant to the user. So once you collect them, then you organize. How do you organize the materials? You organize them based on what? Arrangement. So when you visit any library, you realize that books are organized based on what? The subject headings. So when you visit any library, we have a term that we call cataloging and classification. By cataloging, we mean the process of recording information about an item according to an accepted standard. So you realize that the books that you collect them, you first have to assign them numbers. Okay, you give them the author's name, the title, the publisher. Then you place them in an appropriate shelf. That is where you preserve them in a shelf, so that users can also have access to them. So simply put that, when we say a library is a place where information in all formats are collected, organized, preserved, and to provide access to knowledge and information. Exactly. Hello?
It's clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, I hope you are following.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
You can also define a library as any institution. You can also define a library as any institution that is responsible for the collection, processing, and storage of recorded knowledge. Any institution that is responsible for the collection, processing, and storage of recorded knowledge for the purpose of consultation, reading, and study. Any institution that is responsible for the collection, processing, and the storage of recorded knowledge for the purpose of consultation, reading, and study. So here, what we are saying here is that any institution that is responsible for the collection of materials, the processing has to do with the stamping, the lettering. Because if you don't process the books, how do you place them on the shelves? If you don't process them, there will be a lot of theft cases. People will visit and they can steal your books in your information center. So it's very important that you need to process the information by giving them class numbers, by giving them accession numbers, by stamping in the books, so that it will identify the library. So that if some people are taking the book outside the library, you can see that this book is your book, so that they will not take it along. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether my 1 hour is due. Is my
Hello?
1 hour due? Because it's
Yeah.
9:30 to
Yes, sir.
10:30, right? All right. So I will pause here for today. And
Yes, sir.
sorry once again, because
Sure,
I've been
sir.
engaged somewhere. I'm in Tetima now. I think to do something for the university. So I think the
Sure,
network
sir.
was a bit a challenge. So please forgive me. We will still surely meet again, probably next week. But I promise, please call me
Okay.
after the class. Yes, please. You called me. Hello.
Come on, me here, day.
Okay, class. So please, I think I'll pause here for today. So thank you very much for coming to
Okay,
the
sir.
class.
Sir, please, I'll call
And I
you.
pray that
Yes, sir.
God
Sir,
willing,
please,
next
I'll
week
call you.
we'll still meet for the class. Yes, ma'am. So we'll link up God willing next week. Thank you very much, and may the good Lord bless us all. Thank
Okay,
you. Bye
thank
bye.
you.
Amen. Bye.
All right.
Hello, class, brothers and sisters. We are all matured. If you're doing your private thing, unmute your